In today's video, Dog Squad, we're going to be doing my Week 6 NFL predictions, or reactions. I have not done one of these in a while. I have not done one since like the conference championship or Super Bowl or whatever, NFL divisional last year. But I am now back because the first few weeks of the NFL season, I just did not really have the time to do it. I got the Cowboys videos out. There were a lot of busy Saturdays during September. I'm finally now back during October. I had homecoming last week, so I wasn't able to do really much then. So I'm now finally back into the swing of things. This video is due late. I wasn't really feeling my best today. First Saturday I was actually able to watch college football like whole day, wake up and finally watch it. So that's why I was kind of excited to do. So that's why I'm making this video later. If you did see my week, hopefully you saw my week 7 predictions. It is out. It should be out at least. So now it won't be like, because I have one guy on comment on one of my shorts, so you can probably find that guy. I don't know if you're watching this, but he said, if you are, comment. But if he said, nope, he got them all right. This was posted, it was like a little bit after all the games ended last week because I went like 13-1. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I posted my community post, if y'all saw that it was still uploading for some reason. It didn't. That was, I think, before the games or during them at least. So, you knew it was I predicted ahead of time. And of course, if you saw my TikTok, that is TreyDog 60. Link in this should be in the description as well as my Den Boys report. So this intro along, just want to do explanations. I will be back doing some more stuff. Also, if you're into my gaming channel, I am going to announce that I will not be doing any gaming videos until like maybe November and December. It won't be any weekends. I was in the summer and I was like, you know what? I can do them in the weekends. I'm like, I don't think I can. I just don't. I'm always watching football or I'm busy doing something. So and then I'm doing these videos, so it just can't really add up. But now let's get into the Week 6 reactions. Here we go. Dog Squad, we're starting off with the 49ers and Seahawks. This was that Thursday night football game. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the Dog Squad. We're almost to 1K, so you can be part of the Golden Dog Squad. Subscribe to Trucks, TreyDog Gaming, link in the description and the bio. And if you are new, also, I do these week predictions the week after. Reactions or the meeting rooms, which are some skits. I think it's every other week. If I have time, I may just do a lot more reactions. I may put a poll up later this week. But I do community post during the week because I can't do videos on school nights because I want to get my school grades and work on that. So grades are good, but Anyways, this was a good game. 49ers had advantage at the start. I think they did better on offense that game. The Seahawks were actually starting to come back in that game. Brock Purdy threw for 255 yards, 3 TDs. And then we also had another running back come in and somehow put up 99 yards. It was just full of them. Deebo Samuel had a good game with a TD and under 2 yards. They kicked quite a bit of field goals. Seahawks, Geno Smith, he overthrew some guys, did throw a TD. Kenneth Walker had a TD. Tyler Lockett had a TD. So, and DK Metcalf had some trouble in that game. Obviously, we look at the player stats. You had that. Jordan Mason got some yards as well. Kyle Juszczyk got a TD as well. Kittle should have gotten one. That was rushing, but receiving. Kittle actually got 2s. The main receiving, TD, but Deebo Samuel did have the most receiving yards. Although Ronaldo Green and Malik Mustafa got the pick as well for the Niners, so the defense didn't do too bad in that game. Overall, the Seahawks are on a downfall right now. They're at 3-3. They've lost 3 games in a row. Niners starting to pick it up. They got the Chiefs tomorrow, so we'll see what they do with that. We move on to the next one, which I can just keep it like this. Okay, Jaguars and Bears. This is the London game, and let me tell you, the Bears are pretty good this year. Caleb Williams is getting better and better. We obviously kind of knew they were going to be good. This is Jacksonville. I don't know what happened to them, but Trevor Lawrence threw 2 TDs and 1 interception, so not too bad a game, 234 yards, just couldn't put offense a game, while Caleb Williams put up 4 TDs, so you can kind of see the resemblance there. Dearness Johnson had 28 yards, not good on the ground, but the rushing yards for the Bears did do well. DeAndre Swift, I woke up around like 11, I think, that day, last Sunday, and I was like, it was like a blowout already. I'm like, oh my gosh, yep, kind of figured. And then the Patriots-Jags play tomorrow as well, so we'll see what that goes when I wake up. Evan Ingram had 102 yards, no TDs. Cole Kmet had 2 TDs with 70 yards. we look at the individual player stats now. We had Trevor Lawrence, Matt Jones actually went in a little bit. Tank Bigsby, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne. I mean, I haven't really seen a lot of Etienne this year. Gabe Davis were the only ones that had the receiving TDs, by the way. Are you sure? I thought I just looked. Oh, sorry, that was Cole Kmet. Evan Ingram, though. Gabe Davis was the only one that had them, those 2 receiving TDs for the Jaguars. Andrew Kisco got the only pick for Jacksonville. The Bears, though, like I said, Caleb Williams had a day. Caleb Williams had actually 56 rushing yards, which kind of makes sense. Cole Kmet and Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, man, he would have actually done great for my fantasy if I put him in, but I did not have him in anymore because I got rid of him. And then Josh Blackwell was the only one that had that pick off Trevor Lawrence. So overall, the Bears are doing really well. They've gotten much better. So especially Caleb Williams, they're getting in the team we thought they would be, 4-2. They're not. Their offense is finally getting going. Jacksonville Jaguars, they're having trouble. They have one of the worst teams in the league tomorrow, the Patriots. So they want to do anything, they got to win that game. We move on now to the next game, which gets into our 1 o'clock games. The Buccaneers taking on the Saints. I was volunteering for something last week, and I'm like, look, I'm watching some of the games as well on my phone while doing it. While I'm not volunteering or something. Of course, I did volunteer, so don't worry. Of course, I mean, whenever I could, of course, so I don't just get that wrong idea. But this was like 17-0 at one point. I looked down, it's like 20-17. I'm like, what? How did they get there? But the Buccaneers had a great offensive day. Baker Mayfield did have some turnovers. Four TDs, 3 interceptions. Had a lot of passing yards, 325. Sean Tucker was leading rusher, 1 TD, 136 yards. Chris Godwin actually had a really good day. He's been actually doing well this year. 2 TDs, 125 yards. Mike Evans sold my fantasy team, but, that's fine, I guess. It doesn't matter anymore. Spencer Rattler, he didn't play too bad on his first day. 243 yards, a TD, and 2 interceptions. So I guess that's not that good. But for him, it's okay, I guess. Alvin Kamara, 40 TDs, 1 TD. I think we need to go get Alvin Kamara. He might request a trade. They were going off. 51 points is just crazy. Baker Mayfield, of course, played well. Bucky Irving got a rushing TD. Chris Godwin, Sean Tucker, Kate Otten. I mean, look at Mike Evans. That's not what I want as stats. That's not. Why the heck are we doing that? Tyke Smith, Zion McCollum got those picks for them. And then we move on to the Saints as well. Alvin Kamara only rushing TD. Bub Means is the only receiving. So not much for there. Pablo Zadebo and Jonathan Abrams. So they did get those picks, and so did Cameron Jordan. Cameron Jordan was able to get a pick as well. So I wasn't able to watch, since I was volunteering, I wasn't able to watch much of the game. Hopefully tomorrow I should be able to watch more, so I'll be able to talk about it next week. Move on to the next game. We take a look at the Commanders-Ravens. It was a good game. They came up short. Lamar Jackson said the same thing. Both played their butts off. 269 yards, 2 TDs for Jane Daniels. Man, he is looking like a real guy, man. He's a real deal. He's a great quarterback right now in the NFL. He's probably going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Lamar Jackson's also doing really well. 323 yards, a TD, and interception. Jane Daniels led, of course, in rushing. Zach Ertz, though, I forgot he's on the Commanders. He did get the receiving TD. Well, not receiving, but he led in receiving. Terry McLaurin did get the 2 TDs. Of course, he now has a QB who's actually able to go pop off. I don't know who has. I thought I went up against him in fantasy. Mike Saints-Trill got the pick for the Commanders. So the Commanders are actually looking like a pretty good team this year. Kind of hard saying that. Could win the NFC East. Now, every time the Commanders do good and win the division, we don't do as well. So maybe that's why. It feels like some curse. That interception Lamar Jackson threw, but he did get the TD. And then Derrick Henry got, of course, 2 TDs. I mean, he's a great one. I don't know why Jerry didn't go get him. You don't have enough money cap. Mark Andrews did get 1 TD for the Ravens. No picks, no forced fumbles, anything. So Commanders held the ball well, just came up short. I do give them praise. They're playing really well this year. Cardinals, Packers, but Ravens, of course, getting back. They won 4 in a row. First game was against us. All right. Arizona Cardinals taking on the Green Bay Packers. Of course, the Cardinals were probably going to get blown out this game. Packers are just a much better team. No. Much better defense. Much better offensive-wise. Jordan Love had a great day. 4 TDs, 1 interception. 214 yards and a TD for Kyler Murray. Trey Benson left in rushing. Not so much of rushing for these teams, but Josh Jacobs did have 62 yards out of 18 carries, though. Trey McBride had 96 yards, so just couldn't get the end zone punching a lot. Christian Watson did have a TD, so good for him. So not really much for the rushing. Michael Wilson was the only one that got that TD for the Cardinals, but the only interception, the only turnover came out of Sean Murphy bunting coming in for the Cardinals. Packers, on the other hand, Jordan Love threw an interception, of course, 4 TDs, had a great day. No rushing TDs, but a lot of receiving, of course. Romeo Dobbs had 2 TDs. Jaden Reed had 1 TD. He's on my fantasy team. Christian Watson had 1 TD. And then no other turnovers by the Cardinals. So, obviously, the Packers had a great day playing. I saw them score a lot of points in this. Of course, you can see that they did. Jordan Love moved the ball really well. He's getting off his injury. Ever since he came back, he's playing well. Murray, just like he's sort of too inconsistent. I think Michael Harrison, though, wasn't playing as that before. They weren't actually doing too bad, blowing out the Rams and all that. So, but, they're now actually starting to look like the Cardinals we thought they were. I actually thought they'd be better this year, not gonna lie. Maybe because they're like the last team I did. I thought they'd maybe like, I don't remember what I put. You can go check it out on my channel. But we move on to the next teams. We do take a look at now the Colts and Titans. The Colts, Joe Flacco had a day, 2 TDs, interception, 189 yards. Now he didn't have the best days we've seen him, but he did have a good game. Will Levis, a TD interception, 95 yards, so not too bad for him, I guess. Kind of maybe okay. And Wise, okay playing. He did throw a pick. But Joe Flacco's not playing anymore, so he did his job as a backup. He was a pretty good backup, probably best one out there. Tyler Goodson had 51 rushing yards, 8 carries. Josh Downs at a TD. DeAndre Hopkins, leading receiver. And Tony Pollard, man, I wish we kind of still had him. Bro, we need to give the ball to Rico, though, more on the Dallas. So we saw that. No rushing TDs, but Josh Downs and Michael Pittman Jr. did have a TD. I need him on my fantasy. Of course, he didn't have many yards, though. Titans, on the other hand, Tony Pollard got that 1 TD. Who was the one that made the pick? Julian Blackmon got that pick. And then the 1 TD off was Tony Pollard. Nick Westbrook-Akine was the receiving TD. And then Amani Hooker got that 1 TD as well. And that does wrap it up for the Colts Titans one. Just want to say that the Colts looked a little bit different. Of course, they are going into. They also did play, a division rival. It seems always close. Then Colts are always at mid. I mean, they never are the team to surprise everyone. They're just always that original team. It seems like. I'll be right back though. I need to get some water. All right, sorry about that, Dog Squad. I needed to get some water. All right, next to the Texans and Patriots, who Drake May didn't play too bad of a starter game. Now he did throw a couple picks, 3 TDs for Drake May, 243 yards. So he had a good game overall. 192, 3 TDs and 1 interception for C.J. Stroud. Of course, that's a good game for him. Joe Mixon had 102 yards in TD coming off an injury, so he did well, and especially for my fantasy team. Stephon Diggs looking pretty good this year on the Texans, better than he was on the Bills. Demario Douglas, 6 receptions, 92 yards of TD. So the Patriots didn't play terrible. Of course, they did get beat by 20 points. I guess the score kind of doesn't really point out what he was saying. They were saying Davis Mills got like 1 attempt. And then Dameon Pierce also got TD. He didn't play too bad either. He actually got 76 yards. Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, and Joe Mixon all had receiving TDs. So that's was really good for the receiving core. Well, Joe Mixon got as a running back got a receiving TD. Eric Murray got a pick. Kalen Bullock got a pick off Drake May, and then Demario Douglas, Keshawn Butt, and Hunter Henry, former Razorback right there, got also a TD. On the receiving, Marcus Jones got C.J. Stroud's pick. So Texans looking like the Texans out there. Patriots kind of getting better. Maybe the Drake May could be developed better once he starts playing. He could beat the Jaguars next tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes in London. Now we look at the Browns and the Eagles. This was an ugly win for Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts did have 2 TDs, 264 yards. I think there could have been more to it. Deshaun Watson, still not looking good for him. He did have 168 yards, but, still not looking expectation-wise. Still, he didn't turn over the ball or anything, didn't play terrible. He could have played better, but, there's, of course, something Deshaun Watson expectations need to be better, and Not bad for him. So I guess I can give him credit, but still, 168 yards and no TDs, no interceptions. So I guess that's whatever. Pierce Strong 43 yards, Amari Cooper 42 yards. Doesn't matter because he's on the Bills now. Saquon Barkley 47 yards rushing, so he didn't have his best game either. But AJ Brown did, coming off an injury, 1 TD, 116 yards. Let's look at the Browns' way. They didn't have any TDs. I think that's right. They did kick field goals. I think they might have gotten a defensive touchdown as well off a field goal. I think. Eagles, they did 2 TDs for Jalen Hurts, as mentioned. No rushing TDs. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, of course. I have to say they're a really good receiving core. Did it. So I was kind of hoping they would lose, but, they didn't. So I'm not going to really say anything else. But they did put up less points than we did against the Browns, and we also let them score less. I mean, it's actually 17, but that wasn't garbage time. With our starters, we let them score 10. So, and we were already up 27-3 when they did score. So, but it doesn't matter because we still had our starters in. Let's take a look at the Chargers and Broncos. Broncos were coming back. This was actually when I got to sit down and watch them when I was doing that live stream, for the Cowboys game, which we'll go over in a second. Justin Herbert didn't have too bad of a day, 237 yards, 1 TD, so good for him. J.K. Dobbins, 1 TD, 96 yards, almost a 100-yard game. Good for J.K. Dobbins, because he got hurt last year, so he's not having too bad of a year, bounce back year. I haven't heard much from him. I haven't really watched a lot of Chargers wise. Kamani Vidal got the receiving TD. Elijah Molden got the 1 interception from Bo Nix. And the Nix did have 2 TDs and 1 interception, so he's actually starting to get a little bit better. He didn't look, I wasn't watching, I was studying for exams the other day, but I did see his stats. He didn't have any passing TDs, I don't think. But he did kind of look a little bit more comfortable, it looks like. So these rookie QBs are kind of getting a little bit better. Especially Jalen Daniels is getting, he's an elite quarterback right now in the NFL. Well, maybe not elite, but he's great. He's a great quarterback right now. One TD for Troy Franklin and Courtland Sutton. Sorry, I'm saying a lot. I'm just tired. What else? Okay, so Broncos wise, they did good receiving. They tried calling back with them. I was watching when they were calling back. So Broncos, not looking too bad. Of course, they're 4-3 now. They're exceeding expectations. Chargers doing pretty well. They've had some ups and downs. They were one of those undefeated teams. So these teams not looking too shabby. They're probably going to be fighting for second place, as the other Chiefs are probably going to win the division, especially with sitting at 5-0 right now. Let's go to now Steelers and Raiders, which this was a close game up to the Steelers pulling away, and the defense, of course, acting like their defense. We look at now player stats. Justin Fields with 145 yards. Najee Harris leading the way with rushing, but Justin Fields, of course, does lead the rushing TDs with two TDs. Najee Harris still at 106 yards. George Pickens had 53 yards, but did not have a TD. No one had, so they do really well in running, and they need to start doing that more. And Dante Jackson got a TD as well. Raiders-wise, Aiden O'Connell a TD interception. I don't know why you don't put Minshew back in, but oh well. Alexander Madison had the only rushing TD, and then Christian Wilkerson was the only receiving TD. So they didn't do too bad. They didn't do that well. Sorry, they didn't do that well. Las Vegas did, but the Steelers definitely had a dominant game. They're much better. I'm glad we beat them. So that's at least good for Dallas-wise. Falcons and Panthers. Falcons and Panthers. Kirk Cousins didn't have his big day, but he did have 225 yards, a lot of passing yards, and 1 TD. Didn't turn over the ball once. Tyler Algier and then Bijan Robinson did lead in rushing. Bijan had lead in TDs, while Algier had 105 yards to lead in yards. And Drake London was the only receiving TD to get there. So they moved the ball a lot. Seems like, but they put up 38 points. It don't seem like they've relied more on the rushing. And then A.J. Terrell Jr. and Clark Phillips the third. As well, I was watching the Cowboys game at the time, so I didn't really get to glance at this a lot. The Panthers, Andy Dalton's still doing much better than Bryce Young, but he had 2 TDs and 2 takeaways, or 2 turnovers, 221 yards. So I wouldn't say really he was he was a problem, but he wasn't the big problem. Deontay Johnson and Xavier Legette did have receiving TDs. No interceptions, of course, thrown by Kirk Cousins. So no takeaways for the Panthers defense, which on and off, they don't have that bad of a defense. It's mostly their offense, and they put up 20 points. So Panthers are 1-5. I wouldn't say they're the Honestly, even though they're 1-5, they're not really the same. They are, but they seem just like a little bit of different Panthers. You know, they were able to move the ball well, able to get more points, maybe really force turnovers, but the Falcons were going to be the better team and score more points, of course, with Kirk Cousins and complete pass to Drake London. Hold on, I'll drop this up real quick. Let me get that out. Okay, so of course, Bijan, a great runner. When we play the Falcons, it's going to probably hurt us. Speaking of Dallas, I'm not going to go 5 minutes and talk about the game, but, this was terrible wise for Dallas. This was awful. Just terrible, trash, embarrassing, whatever you want to say. For the Lions, fantastic game. Now, what did it cost? Prayers for Aiden Hutchinson. I know he's out for the whole season, but hopefully he recovers soon. Maybe a miracle can happen. I don't know. Jared Goff had a fantastic game, 315 yards and 3 TDs. Hendon Hooker actually was able to go in and go 1 for 2 and 19 yards. Just terrible. David Montgomery couldn't stop him on my fantasy team. But still, Jameson Williams led in rush receiving. Only 2 TDs came from David Montgomery. And this year's Jahmyr Gibbs, we saw him 12 carries, about the same as David Montgomery. So sorry, they kind of switched in 8 drives. But David Montgomery did get those 2 TDs in the red zone. Jameson Williams, Samuel Laporta, and Amon St. Brown got those TDs as well. One towards the end, Laporta off the reverse, and Jameson Williams, that was like a long bomb. So Brian Branch did get 2 picks. I think both of them were from Dak, and then Kirby Joseph. They got the one on Cooper Rush. We take a look at Dallas. Dak just did not play well. But there's some issues with our offense overall. Cooper Rush was in, and he threw a pick. So, not much for me either. No rushing at all. This is terrible rushing right here for Dallas. Got to get that going. I don't know why he didn't give it to Rico. Why was Zeke getting the ball more? I don't know. He asked for it, so I guess we gave it to him. CeeDee Lamb at 89 yards, so not too bad for him. We didn't get a TD. We really don't have anyone else. We don't. Fergie's a good tight end, but that's just it. No takeaways, nothing for Dallas. Flat out nothing, and it's embarrassing. So we move on now. We have now Sunday Night Football. The Bengals taking on the Giants. It was a bad game, but Bengals got the job done. Joe Burrow, 208 yards. Did have that long rushing TD. I was pretty surprised when I saw that out of him. He led in rushing yards, 55 yards. T. Higgins at 77 yards. Daniel Jones had a pick, 205 yards. Classic Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes, Chase Brown also had a rushing TD for him. He's actually been doing well. It was like towards the end, though. I thought it should have kneeled it, but, almost put them in the butt. Jermaine Pratt had that pick on Jay and Daniels, and then Giants. Of course, we saw Tyron Tracy had the 1 TD tied up at 7. So that was it for that. When I was watching it, kind of hanging out, I didn't have school the next day. When I was playing video games, I just kept seeing a lot of some turnovers. Of course, we only saw 1, but it just seemed like a sloppy game. Bengals could never convert. Giants, I think, missed one field goal. I think missed a field goal, Sloppy, very sloppy game, but the Bengals did get the job done. Kind of when they needed to kind of get a confidence boost, too. Kind of like what we did against the Giants. All right, Monday Night Football between the Bills and the Jets. This is always a tough game. Of course, this probably could have been a little further, but, it's a divisional game. Josh Allen, 215 yards, not TDs, yards, 2 TDs. Fantastic game for him. Of course, Josh Allen's going to do that. Ray Davis and led in rushing and receiving. Aaron Rodgers, 2 TDs, interceptions. He's getting Devontae Adams, so maybe he can get more receiving. Of course, he did have Lazard get a TD. Brees Hall did not, but he had 113 yards. Josh Allen led in rushing for the Bills, did get a rushing TD, the only one. Dawson Knox and Mac Hollins had the receiving TDs. Tyron Johnson had one of the picks on Aaron Rodgers, and then Rodgers also threw for TD 294 yards. We didn't have any rushing TDs, Allen Lazard and Garrett Wilson, so when you have Devontae in there, they might be a little bit scarier, but I still think the Jets might have a slight chance at the postseason, but I don't think they're going to be that big on it. So you see Josh Allen's also not thrown a pick yet, and he was leading in picks, so he might be an MVP for the first time this year. I would have loved if Dak gotten it last year, but it didn't because Lamar played better, and Lamar could be this year. But this was always, of course, a battle, and between 2 good QBs, of course. This was a good, great game to, of course, watch. I was too busy studying for exams, though. I had a freaking honors algebra too, and AP US history exam the next day. So that's what. But that was also, I heard, a great game. I watched a little bit of it, towards especially when I saw the ending. So that of course was a great week overall. Some good games, some sloppy ones. I say there was some balanced week. But I think it's a fun week. Fun week was week 6. I'm excited for week 7. And I hope you are, because it starts, it started Thursday, but the games start tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. We got these games, and it ends on Monday. Of course, that's like always. And I will see you next time. Enjoy week 7. Peace.